Hello. In this video we're going to be looking again at inequations, and in particular what we're going to be doing is looking at two-part inequations and how to solve them. Okay, so what does a two-part inequation look like? Well, it looks like this. And this looks pretty complicated, first of all, but what we're going to do is we're going to break it down into sort of two parts. So let's think first of all about what this is saying. So we want to solve, so we're going to find all the values of x for which x plus 7, when we do that, so when we take our number and add on 7, we get an answer that is less than if we did 3x take away 5. So we took our number that we started with, we multiplied it by 3 and took away 5. We want it to be less than this bit, but we also want that, this bit in the middle, the 3x minus 5, we want that to be less than 4 times our original number, take away 9. Now, how on earth do we do that then? Well, what we're going to do is take it in two parts. So I'm going to take this part to start with, and I'm going to solve that separately. So I need that x plus 7 is less than 3x minus 5. So let's start off by taking away this x. So I'm going to take away x from over here as well, and that's going to give me 7 is less than 2x minus 5. Okay? Next step, I'm going to plus this 5 to get rid of the take away 5 over there. So I plus, that should be a plus there, plus 5, and that's going to give me 12 is less than 2x. Final step then will be to divide by 2. I divide by 2, and that will give me that 6 is less than x, or possibly a slightly nicer way of writing that would be x has to be bigger than 6. Okay, so that's part one. We need to look at the other part now, so I'm going to look at this right-hand side part. So as well as having this bit less than this, we also need to have this bit less than this. So let's see what happens if we do that bit now. So I'm starting with 3x minus 5 needs to be less than 4x minus 9. First thing I'm going to do then is get rid of all of these x's. So I'm going to take away 3 x's from the left, which means I'm going to take away 3 x's from the right as well. Now, being careful here, we've got a negative in front of that 5. So that leaves me, when I take away this 3x, I'm left with the negative 5. So I've got negative 5 is less than, it's not 4x anymore, is it? Pay attention. So I started with 4x, I've taken away 3x, so now I've actually only got 1x left. And I've got this minus 9 as well. How am I going to get rid of this minus 9? Well, I'm going to have to plus 9 back on. So we add 9 back on here. So I'm going to need to add 9 over here as well. Negative 5 plus 9, that's 4, is less than x. And if 4 is less than x, that is the same as, let's change colour, that is the same as x being bigger than 4. Now, let's think about what we've got and how we can bring this together to make one solution then. So from this part over here, this red part, I need x to be bigger than 6. From this part over here, this yellow part, I need x to be bigger than 4. So what's going to be the solution overall to this equation? Well, we know this one's true if x is bigger than 6. We know this one's true if x is bigger than 4. So what numbers are going to make all of it true? Well, let's say x is bigger than 4. Let's say I chose 5. Well, if I chose 5, this bit would be true, but this bit wouldn't be true, right? Because 5 isn't bigger than 6. So what I need is stuff to be bigger than 6 and to be bigger than 4, and I can do that quite easily just by saying, well, let's have everything that is bigger than 6 then. Because if it is bigger than 6, then it's also bigger than 4 already, isn't it? Because 6 is bigger than 4. So I would write as my final answer, x is bigger than 6. And we know that that will be true for all the red stuff and also all the yellow stuff. Okay, we'll try another one. And I'm going to do the same trick, splitting it up into two parts. So let's say this blue part on the left, first of all. I've got 2x plus 7 is less than 3x plus 1. First thing, Let's get rid of these 2x's from the left. So I'm getting rid of 2x's from the right as well. And that's going to give me 7 is less than x plus 1. Plus 1, there we go. Now I'm going to take away this 1. So I do the same on the left. And that will leave me with 6 is less than x. And like we did before, I'm just going to flip that round the other way, and let's say that's the same as x is greater than 6. Cool. Okay, let's try this side then. So I'll call this the purple side. So now we've got 3x plus 1 needs to be less than x plus 17. First step then is going to be to get rid of this x on its own. So I'm going to take away an x from this side as well. And that's going to give me 2x plus 1 is less than 17. We want now to get rid of this 1, so I'm subtracting 1, subtract 1, subtract 1, and that's going to give me 2x is less than 16. Final step then, we're going to have to divide by 2 over here, and we're going to do the same over here, which leaves me with x being less than 8. X has to be less than 8. So we've got our two different solutions here. From the left-hand side, we know x has got to be bigger than 6. From the right-hand side, we know x has to be less than 8. Now, there's not very many options there, is there? If it's got to be bigger than 6 and less than 8, it's got to be somewhere in between the two. And what we can do is write that all as one big inequality, because we've got our x, we know it has to be less than 8, and we also know it has to be bigger than 6, so I can write the whole thing like that. So I'm going to say 6 is less than x, which is less than 8. I'm going to write it all as one big inequality like that, rather than these two separate ones. That's my answer here. Okay, another. Okay, same kind of idea. I'm going to take the two halves. So let's start with purple half. This one here. So we've got 10x plus 16 is less than 5x plus 1. First step then is going to be to take away 5x's from this side, which means I better take away 5x's from this side as well. And that's going to leave me with 5x plus 16 is less than 1. Now I'm going to have to take away that 16. So being careful here, because we're going to get into negative territory. That leaves me with 5x is less than negative 15. Final step for this one then, we're going to divide by 5. Divide by 5 over here as well. And that leaves me with x is less than negative 3. So there we go. So solving that purple part, we need x to be less than negative 3. Okay, let's do this side then. I'm going to make this side yellow. So we need to solve 5x plus 1 is less than 4x plus 3. And first step then, we want to get rid of 4x's from both sides, don't we? So I'll take away the 4x from here. I'll take away the 4x from here. And that's going to leave me with just 1x over here, plus 1. And that stuff all needs to be less than 3. Good. Next step then, we want to get rid of this 1. So I'm taking away 1. I'm taking away 1. And that's going to leave me with x is less than 2. So now we need to think about what our final answer is going to look like here. So we've got x needs to be less than negative 3. We've got x needs to be less than 2. Now we want both of those things to be true, don't we? We want x to be less than 2 and we want x to be less than negative 3. So the only way we can make sure both of them is true is if we say x has to be less than negative 3. So this one sort of wins, doesn't it? Because if I chose something that was less than 2, let's say 0, then all of this stuff would be true. That would be fine. But all of this purple stuff wouldn't be, because this purple stuff needs x to be less than -3. So 0 wouldn't work. 0 would work for this bit, but it wouldn't work for this bit. So in order for them both to be true, we're going to need to say x is less than -3 for this one. Right, we've got one final example we'll look at, same kind of idea. I'm going to split it up into two parts. So we've got our, let's say, our blue part on the left. -2x plus 7 is less than x minus 2. And what I'm going to do first of all is, and this is a good tip for when we're dealing with inequalities, it makes things quite complicated if we have a negative number of x's. So if you've got a negative number in front of your variable, we kind of want to get rid of that. So first thing I'm going to do is add 2x to both sides. And if I add 2x to both sides, then I get rid of all these negative x's that I've got. And I can just deal with positive numbers, which makes things a little bit simpler. So I had -2x, I've added 2x back on, so now all we've got left is that 7, which has to be less than, I've got an x plus a 2x, so that's 3x, and I've still got this -2. Cool. Next then we're going to have to add on that 2, so we add the 2 here, we add the 2 here, that gives us 9 is less than 3x. So final step, we're going to divide by 3. Divide by 3 over here, divide by 3 over here. That gives me 3 is less than x. And let's do the same thing on the right hand side. So I'm going to have, oh, this looks like it won't take too many steps, this one. I've got x minus 2 is less than 3. First thing I'm going to do, in fact first and only thing I'm going to do, is add on 2. So I add 2, that will get rid of the -2. I add 2 over here. That gives me x is less than 5. So what do we want then? We want numbers that are bigger than 3 and that are less than 5. So this is going to be one of those situations where we can sort of put the two together. If our values of x need to be bigger than 3 and they also need to be less than 5, we can write it like that as one big inequality. So as long as we've got something that is bigger than 3, this stuff will be true. As long as we've got something that's less than 5, this stuff will be true. So if x is bigger than 3 and less than 5, all of it will be true. Okay, there's our final answer. Cheers, I'll see you in a bit. Bye.